You think it's just a plain old card and then BAM! Or maybe it's a truck traveling down the road. Or maybe it's a bunch of hearts for Valentine's Day. Or maybe it's a birthday card to remind you of how old you're getting. Hi, it's me JD and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be working on what I call pull-out cards and envelopes. So to start, I'm going to use this all-in-one works tool. Apparently it cuts paper, it does stamping, it makes envelopes, it slices, it dices, and it can be yours for 4 easy payments of $15.95. Not including shipping and handling. Just kidding, I have no idea how much it costs. And it doesn't slice or dice either. But it does do some of those other things I mentioned. First, I'm going to take off the stamping thingamajig that comes with it, and I'm going to take out this piece that has all of the envelope measurements. I will be making my own custom size envelopes for these types of pull-out cards and envelopes. So for my card, is it a card? Or an element? I don't know what you call it. But I want to make a 4.5 by 6 inch card, so I'm using their little chart to measure out the paper size that I need. For these types of cards, you will need some extra wiggle room, just because, it's kind of a 3D accordion thing that has to fit within the envelope, has to fit nicely. So a little extra space won't hurt you. Anyway, I'm going to use my handy dandy works, like crafty Swiss Army knife, I call it, and start scoring my piece of paper. So I placed a little chart where it tells me to place it with those triangles, and then I'm just going to start scoring my paper. I'll turn it 90 degrees, and then I'll score it again. At first you're like, wait, the first score line is going to interfere with the second score line, but that is intentional. I had to watch the YouTube video multiple times to make sure that I'm doing it right. But yes, so your score lines will intersect, and that's perfectly okay. That's supposed to happen. And it makes sense because I'm making a rectangular envelope, so these score lines have to intersect. Anyway, I'll make my last score line here. And what I do like about this crafty Swiss Army knife is that it comes with a corner puncher and a corner rounder. This just makes your envelopes have a really nice finish to them. So I'm gonna I'm gonna fold all of these score lines to create my envelope, but I'm not going to adhere anything yet. I'm just going to set this aside and make some other envelopes while I have this board out. I like to craft in batches now to save time. Speaking of saving time, have you hit the subscribe button yet? You'll save time because instead of searching for my videos, they just come up right on your notification once you hit that bell. Anyway, I digress. I have some fun colors of paper here, and this kind of paper is really thin. It's like 60 pounds. Anything 60 pounds or less is going to work best for your pull-out mechanism. And I'm just cutting down strips of paper. They're about a 1/2 inch wide, and then I'm going to take out a piece of regular printer paper, copy paper, and cut it down to about 2.5 inches. Just wide enough so all of my strips will fit on there. Before I put the strips on there, I'm going to take out my scoring board and score it at every 2.5 inches. This piece is the base for my pull-out mechanism. I will fold along those score lines in a zigzag pattern. That way it kind of folds out accordion style when your recipient pulls it out of the envelope. When you're doing this, you just want to make sure that you designate one end of the strip to attach to your envelope and the other end to attach whatever you want to have your recipient pull out of the envelope or card. So then I'll add some tape runner to this pull-out piece and then attach my strips of colored cardstock to it. You could use tape runner or glue or Scor-Tape, just whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles your fancy. In my case, I'm using tape runner because it's quick and easy. Speaking of quick and easy, I thought this would be quick and easy until I decided to correct something and I ripped my paper. And whoops! Here I am trying to hide it like no one's gonna see it. I just ended up putting some more adhesive on there and just rubbing it really, really firm. So hopefully everyone's just like blinded by the prettiness of the rainbow that they don't even notice that little blip in there. So as you saw, I folded the rainbow strips along those score lines of my printer paper base. It comes up a little at the ends, some more tape runner to the rescue, and it's like it never even happened. And I want to make sure my pull-out mechanism works, which it does, so I'll move on to the next step, which is making my cloud. As you saw, I just hand drew a cloud shape. Now I'm cutting it out, giving a little haircut to make it look better. And then I'll run some tape runner on the top piece. Remember, this is the pull out piece that the recipient will pull out of your envelope, and adhere my cloud to the top of the rainbow. And now I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And oh, by the way, I can't read. There's an S under that, so it says sending you all rainbows. All right, step 2 works much better. It's supposed to say sending you a rainbow. I'll just add some Scor-Tape to the back of this little sentiment piece and then attach that to my rainbow. And I'll fold it all to make sure it all comes out nice and pretty. And here is where I told you not to put your envelope together quite yet, because you want to position this pull-out piece where the top of the envelope won't hit it. So you'll just add some Scor-Tape to the piece that's going to attach to the envelope, and then again, center it so the top of the envelope don't hit it and the sides don't interfere with it, and just make sure you can pull it out no problem. And once you're happy with it, then you can put the Scor-Tape on the side flaps of the envelope and tape everything down, making sure not to tape your pull-out piece. So now we're testing it out. You see the front, we pull it out, it works fabulous. We pull out again, it works even more fabulous. And this card / envelope is pretty much finished. For this next pull-out card, I'm going to use a die, which I already die cut out the pieces just to save time, but it's from Spellbinders, and I love it. I think it's sold out the first time, and I wasn't able to buy it, and then it came back for a limited time, so I was like, I'm on it. And it creates this really fun truck, the back of the truck, and the license plate is actually the sentiment. And so as you saw, I cut down a strip of paper for my road, and now I'm cutting more yellow strips of paper to represent the lines in the road. I have my pull-out base, that piece of copy paper, all ready to go. I'm just going to stick some tape runner on that and attach my road to the base. As you can see, the base is narrower than the road, but that's okay, as long as you don't see it from the front, and it's not too flimsy. I think the base will be just fine no matter what width it is. Next, I'll attach my truck to the pull-out end of this accordion. And like before, I haven't attached this mechanism yet. I'm gonna stick Scor-Tape on the opposite end of this and position it so that it's not hitting any of the sides. Then I'll stick Scor-Tape on the side flaps and adhere everything down. And a quick test to make sure everything works properly, which it does, and it's fabulous. This is why I mentioned earlier that you need just a little more wiggle room in your envelope, because it's going to hold this kind of thick accordion thing. For this next example, I wanted to decorate my accordion pull-out piece with some die-cut hearts. So I'm just using one heart die. I'm just using it repeatedly on different colored cardstock, so I have multiple hearts to decorate my pull-out accordion. Like before, I've already trimmed it and scored it. Now I'm attaching some tape runner, and then I'll start placing my hearts over this strip. Now, in retrospect, I probably should have been more aware of where I place my die-cut hearts, and you'll see why in a little bit. And so I'm placing my hearts down, making sure they're evenly spaced, but as I flip it over and try to score the hearts, some of the hearts just didn't fold in the right spots. Like they folded with a little sliver of the heart, which made it kind of awkward when you try to open it or pull it out. It still works overall, so my solution for this, if you happen to come across this when you attempt it, is to just use some extra tape runner or glue when you put down your die cut pieces. I think symmetrical shapes would also work better than non-symmetrical shapes. So as you can see there, some of the hearts just came up, but nothing a little glue or extra tape runner won't fix. I couldn't find the right sentiment in my stash of stamps, so I'm just going to handwrite my sentiment in. It's going to say "I heart you" on the part you pull out, and then in the middle it says "this much" with 2 exclamation points. This would be a good card for kids to do. It's really easy to put together. And as before, I'm going to put some Scor-Tape on that end flap, stick it onto my envelope base, and then I'll adhere some more Scor-Tape on the side flaps and put my envelope together, and it kind of works. Whoops! I guess I needed more glue and tape runner on that last little heart here. I will stick that down and wait for it to dry, and then I'm gonna go for take 2, and it should work now. Yes, it does. So next I wanted to do this technique, but in a different way. I wanted to make solely a pull-out card that doesn't require an envelope. So now, as you see, I'm cutting out some flames for my candles, and for my candles I'm just cutting up more paper strips. If you have a metal die, that cuts it out great. If you don't, candles are really easy to cut yourself with some scissors and a paper trimmer. Now that I've got all my pieces cut out, I'll start assembling my candles, and it's just a matter of placing some glue at the top of each paper strip and then sticking my flame on top. I needed a total of 21 candles because this recipient is going to be turning 21. And I cut more than I needed, but oh well. So like before, I'm making my pull-out base, but this time it's going to go out to the side. And so as I'm folding it, I'm going to make sure that it folds out correctly to the side like I want. So that end will be my base that sticks to the card, and the short end will be the side that the recipient pulls. And now I'll stick more tape runner all down one side of this base and start adhering my candles. This would be a fun card no matter what age of your recipient. Well, I guess if they're only turning 1, that's not so fun. But if they're turning more than 5, this would be really fun to customize the number of candles to your recipient's age. And towards the end, here's where I start running into trouble, because I could only fit 18 candles on that base. So I'm like, okay, time to improvise here. So I decided that I'm going to stick the other 3 candles on the inside of my note card, and then do it in the same pattern so it all looks kind of seamless. If you have a lot of candles to place, like more than 20, I highly recommend that you do some quick math and measure out your pull-out base to be whatever length you need, and your candles to be a nice even number that'll fit onto your pull-out base. So to cover up that icky white flap, I'm going to stamp and heat emboss my birthday sentiment on another piece of cardstock and cover that right up. After adhering that sentiment piece on there, I realized that my my pull-out base wasn't hiding nicely within the card, so I'm just gonna flip it over and just trim off any excess there. Since I had some leftover candles, I'll just attach them to the front of my card, foregoing any kind of sentiment, because this is just to give a little clue as to what's gonna come on the inside. And this card is finished, and it's so fun, and thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you like these kinds of cards with a big thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next video.